The awards are organized by Construction World, the largest circulated construction business magazine in India, established under the leadership and vision of Mr. Pratap Padode. Before I do invite Mr. Pratap Padode, a few words about him. A trailblazer who first blazed a trail in financial journalism with his chartered accountancy background, he turned to addressing the needs of the construction, infrastructure and manufacturing sectors through ASAP Info Global Group, which was set up in 1999. Since then, he has spearheaded India's enthusiasm for smart cities through the Smart City Council India that was set up in 2014, and now lobbies for policy changes as founder and president of the First Construction Council. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite the man behind these Oscars of the construction industry. Put your hands together for Mr. Pratap Padode as he tells us more about our awards.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 6th India Construction Festival and the 18th Construction World Annual Awards. The ability to adapt quickly and respond to the needs is what our information brands, Construction World, Equipment India, Infrastructure Today, and Indian Cement Review have had to do in the last 200 days. Our information delivery medium has morphed to providing views and opinions of business leaders, debates and discussions on industry-specific issues, all on video, on digital medium. Our content being provided on our websites with daily updates and information through the day is keeping the industry updated. First Construction Council, the infrastructure think tank, is planning to undertake impactful campaigns on technology, policy, and others to improve the sustainability of the industry. India needs to spend 7 to 8% of its GDP on infrastructure annually, which translates into an annual infrastructure spend of $200 billion, while currently we've been able to put around $100 to $110 billion annually. This huge investment gap of $90 billion needs funding through different and, more importantly, innovative approaches. The National Infrastructure Pipeline envisages an investment of 102 trillion rupees over the next 5 years, which would put the economy into a high growth orbit. Though announced by the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister earlier this year, the pandemic has obviously disrupted the priorities. India's economy is suffering a double whammy. While the government will cut spending all around, including watering down plans for the National Infrastructure Pipeline, its pipeline of projects itself has been the weakest in the last 14 years. Therefore, it is critical that it continues its path of structural reforms. Considering the mandate the ruling party enjoys with virtually no opposition, it would be foolhardy to fritter away the opportunity of reform. Agriculture and mining reforms have been brought on boldly. Even several projects like the Bogibeel Bridge, the Chenani Nashri Tunnel, the Sikkim's first airport, commercial aviation in Arunachal Pradesh, the Bidar Kalaburgi railway line connecting Delhi and Bengaluru, railway connectivity to the northeastern states, and even recently the inaugurated Atal Tunnel at Rohtang have been completed during Prime Minister Modi's tenure, and these projects have been delayed for over a decade. However, the project pipeline is still a huge area of concern. The metro rail projects, which are funded by multilateral agencies, and the road projects are truly holding infrastructure spending at a steady pace. Recently, the National High Speed Rail Corporation has also announced plans for 7 new projects at an expected cost of around 10 trillion rupees. It has awarded tenders of 200 billion rupees to 3 bidders, comprising 7 Indian companies. The area tendered part of Gujarat is likely to consume 75 lakh million tons of cement, 21 lakh million tons of steel, and 1.3 million tons of structural steel. Another tender for 28 steel bridges, which will consume 70,000 metric tons of steel, is underway. Both the metro rail and the bullet train projects have an advantage of deploying long-term funds from overseas governments at negligible rates of interest, where due to relaxation in terms, the contracts are now being awarded to Indian companies. And the building materials are also being sourced from Indian building material companies, and we are generating employment. No wonder then, most of our winners are those who are constructing metro rail and roads. Road construction, which sped our way to infrastructure growth in the recent past, with financial year 1920 clocking in contract awards of 10,676 kilometers, is in process of resetting its model, where it needs to monetize its assets and reduce the debt load. With its financials under strain, zooming 9.5 times to 2.28 trillion in 5 years, a monetization program of toll-yielding assets has been initiated by NHAI. As part of the National Infrastructure Pipeline, the road sector would elicit an expenditure of 3.24 trillion rupees in financial year 2020 alone, apart from its total allocation of nearly 19 trillion rupees over the next 5 years to 2025. With land costs constituting 40% of the cost of roads, from only 10 to 15% barely 7 years ago, the failing of the Land Acquisition Act is hurting the stability of the model. I have been constantly recommending abandoning the purchase of land for road construction and deploying innovative land pooling instead, which will save the country over 2 trillion rupees. The quicker National Highway Authority can monetize its assets and adopt land pooling, the quicker it will be able to catch the desired speed in propelling infrastructure. After all, infrastructure is the only way the economy can pick itself up and get back to business. Over the last few years, the list of profit-making construction companies has been shrinking. Even though initially the top line shows growth, the profit margin continues to shrink to a point that the company reports a huge loss. Companies like Hindustan Construction, Gammon India, IVRCL, Punj Lloyd, Simplex Infrastructure, Lanco, Era Infra, Marg, Madhukon Projects, Progressive Construction, and so on, all have suffered the same fate eventually. On the brighter side, we've had new companies emerging on the scene, showing rapid growth continuously year on year. These have been able to grow from a few hundred crores of top line to 1,000 crore plus in a matter of few years. As long as the newcomers outnumber the ones that falter, we will have enough to soldier on. But it is also time to rethink the model that drives them to the point where they delivered a sucker punch. Ladies and gentlemen, our financial year 1920 GDP had already slowed. For the full financial year 2020, the number had come down to 4.2% from 6.1% in 1819. The Indian economy grew at 3.1% in the January to March 2020 quarter, its slowest pace in at least 2 years. The construction sector also registered a degrowth of 2.2% as compared to 6% growth in the previous year. L&T hit a market cap of ₹2 trillion in January 18 when the GDP was at 7.7%, and it has hit 1.25 trillion of late. So the construction sector acts like a resilient sector when faced against a drastic crisis of this nature. It's not so easy to switch it off. So while cinemas, restaurants, hotels went down to zero under the lockdown during April-June quarter, construction was hit hard but held ground. Currently, order books are good, workers are more or less back, but the worry is only about the future, the project pipeline, the government's ability to focus on the economy beyond elections. So ladies and gentlemen, when we raise our hands to applaud for the winners, remember this: they too have fought hard to continue to build against all odds. Our winners are chosen due to their performance over 6 years with higher weightage on the recent performances. We value growth and profitability on equal weightage, and then we allow our jury members to evaluate the emerging winners under the lens of ethics, reputation, governance, and business fortitude. Our top challengers are selected among the entire construction industry, including building materials, equipment, real estate, contracting, where we see the ability of the companies to have a sturdier response to the market than others. Ladies and gentlemen, James Bryant Conant, President, Harvard University, points out the one quality that defines winners, and I quote, "Behold the turtle. He only makes progress when he sticks his neck out." And now it is time for winners who've been sticking their necks out to hold their heads high. I will end with a couplet from Allama Iqbal, which is very oft quoted by our former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. सितारों से आगे जहां और भी हैं, इश्क के इम्तिहान और भी हैं. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Padode.